Have you ever heard the tale of someone who could take a small town in Georgia and turn it into one of the world's greatest leaders? Someone who transformed the world by faith and determination? This is the tale of Jimmy Carter, a man who not only attained the presidency, but continued to shepherd the flock well after leaving office. Are you ready? Let's start this amazing experience together. It was a clear and sunny day in the fall of 1924. Deep in the small town of Plains, Georgia, a baby was born that would change the world. His name was James Earl Carter, but everyone called him Jimmy. He was the eldest child in a farm-working family. His father, Earl, was a hard laborer who spent all day in the fields, and his mother, Lillian, was a sweet and loving lady who worked as a nurse and always believed in helping people. They say Jimmy birded his mother's love of helping others. Never in the largest nor the warmest of homes, surrounded by love, a family of modest means. They brought Jimmy up to work hard and to always lend a hand. As a young boy, Jimmy had a passion for nature and would run through the cotton and peanut fields. His friends always said Jimmy had a strange curiosity. Anything he beheld, he was curious about how it worked. Like the time he wanted to play with mechanical tools, just to know how to do all of it. But there was one thing that made Jimmy really unusual. He loved to read. Once he had a book, he wouldn't put it down. He would sit and read for hours and discuss what he had read. For a boy from a small town, it was odd to have such an appetite for knowledge, but Jimmy was unique. It was this passion for learning that shaped him into the person who would one day change the world, many believed. Jimmy was always reading, and when he asked questions, there was no doubt there was nothing that mattered to him more than learning, one of his classmates said. Believe it or not, Jimmy really valued education. He was a top student in high school and went on to gain admission to the United States Naval Academy. And for a small-town boy, this was an enormous leap. Jimmy was disciplined and smart. Some would say a nerd even, at the academy. It's even hard for his teachers to believe that a boy from a rural town will shine like this. He served on nuclear submarine projects after graduating from the academy and joined the Navy. But something in his heart kept telling him he had to go home. When he did, he assumed control of the family farm and began his mundane life. But there was something that distinguished Jimmy, as I said, his curiosity. When he knew he could make a difference, he got into politics. A lot of his friends asked whether Jimmy could actually make a difference in the world, but his response was always the same. Yes, I can. Now let's get into when Jimmy went into politics. He ran for governor of Georgia in the 1960s as a means of getting into politics. To win the 1970 election shocked everyone. What was so interesting to me was how quickly Jimmy established trust with the people and built integrity. As governor, he concentrated on tackling community issues like racial equality. What made him endearing to so many was that he was always with the people and for the people, and listened to the people. Now Jimmy was going to go a step bigger and set up for the presidency. Eventually, in 1976, through determination and effort, he won the United States presidential election, entering the White House. Here was where larger issues beckoned him. Many people were thinking, can this guy meet these challenges? But Jimmy never backed down. Jimmy experienced many international crises during his presidency. One of the most difficult times may have been during the Iran hostage crisis. In 1979, the Iranian Revolution erupted, and a group of Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy and took American diplomats hostage. And this was a real blow to Jimmy because whenever I chopped off one head of the Hydra, another one sprouted. But Jimmy never gave up. Jimmy is someone who always learns from failure, one of Jimmy's inner circle said. But this was one of his life's toughest junctures. The hostages not being released, Jimmy authorized a military operation to rescue them. But the operation, unfortunately, did not go as planned. It was something no one, not even his enemies, wanted to hear. The operation had killed 8 American soldiers, and it was a crushing political blow to Jimmy. Still, Jimmy never lost his way and always did the right thing. As Jimmy said later in his memoirs, sometimes good effort just doesn't pay off. But there's a really critical thing not to forget. Jimmy Carter scored one of his greatest diplomatic achievements. In 1978, he mediated a peace agreement between Egypt and Israel at Camp David, which led to the signing of a peace accord between the two nations. That was an epic victory that earned Jimmy international deference. Now we get to the Carter Doctrine. Jimmy dealt with the expansion of the Soviet Union during his presidency, a policy of promoting human rights and containing communism. After the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, Jimmy even implemented dramatic measures such as economic sanctions and refusing to participate in the 1980 Olympics in an effort to apply international pressure on the Soviet Union. It all seemed bold and reckless to many of the politicians back then, but Jimmy always believed in the course he'd charted. But what truly distinguishes Jimmy from the rest is what he did following his presidency. Instead of retiring from politics to enjoy a life of ease, he went home and went to work for humanity. He established the Carter Center and poured his efforts into combating disease, poverty, and injustice. Jimmy Carter taught us all that you didn't have to be in office to be able to change the world. This man was all about putting others first and trying to make the world a better place. Jimmy Carter showed us all everything he could as president, father, husband, great human being. He showed that standing for your principles is never in vain, that against all odds one can serve the world with integrity and bravery. Jimmy Carter's story is one of the truly inspiring narratives of a person who literally changed the world around him as well as our own through hard work and sacrifice. Thank you for sticking with us till the end of this video. If you found Jimmy Carter's inspiring life story interesting, make sure to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. By subscribing, you'll be the first to catch our latest videos. Stay with us and let's share more impactful stories together. You're awesome.